assembly. We are going to have a look at citizen science. Okay, this is your STEM week, so hopefully you're doing lots of science, technology, engineering, maths. I quite like the phrase STEAM, because that's science, technology, engineering, maths, but also that creative, artistic bit that's all about the thinking of ideas and wondering, how do things work? What's happening there? And I used to love taking things apart, putting them back together to work out how they work. Citizen science is a lot like that, finding out what things do, what things work, what things don't work. For citizen science this week, we're using what's under our feet. Looking at the small creatures, the mini beasts, the ecosystems that exist in our fields, in our playgrounds, in our back gardens. And it's a very important ecosystem because it feeds a huge amount of the bigger creatures that we see. The birds, our reptiles, our fish, and even some of our larger prey. So we've got a couple of videos and I've got some work for you to think about. What's under your feet? Have a think about what's in your back garden. Have a think, have a look, investigate. How many worms? I'm sure Mrs. Farr's been counting the worms this week. That's what I've heard. Little fat wriggly ones. Juicy.
Birds are all around us. In some places you'll find a lot of birds, while in other places you won't find many at all. So what makes birds prefer some places to others? And why do the number of birds change from year to year? Food is very likely to be important for birds. Many birds eat tiny animals that live in the soil, like worms and insects. These are called soil invertebrates, but we don't know very much about them at all. You can help us find out what sort of soils they like best and how they are affected by the weather. Your research could add an important piece to the jigsaw puzzle in understanding why some birds are becoming more rare. The first step is to choose your spot. It's really important that you don't choose a spot because it's special in some way. So the best way to avoid this is to throw a pen gently behind you to randomly select the centre of your spot. Once you've chosen your spot, measure out a 30 centimetre square. And once you've measured out your 30 centimetre square, you dig it up. It's important not to dig too deep into the ground. You want to dig up about 5 centimetres depth. It doesn't matter if it's a bit more or a bit less, but it's very easy to dig something that's far too deep. Once you've dug around the edge of your square, put the spade underneath it all and bring it up. The easiest thing to do is to empty your square upside down onto a tray. Slowly sift through the soil in your tray, making sure you find all the soil invertebrates in it. Divide the soil invertebrates into earthworms and other species. You may need to use the Soil Invertebrate Guide or the Insect Guide to identify your animals. Count how many of each type of soil invertebrate you have, and measure the earthworms as best you can to the nearest centimetre. If you've got weighing scales available, weigh all of your worms. Once you've finished, put all the soil back into the hole and try to leave it as neat as possible. Once you've finished, gently place the invertebrates back on the ground. Thank you for taking part in this important citizen science project. Take part in the survey and record your results online at jointhepod.org.
I like that video. The lady was very organised. She took her time. The science part of it was she had a 30 centimetre square that she dug up, and she also had little pots to categorise all the little creatures that she found. And then she'd count out how many she'd have, how many worms, how many spiders, how many centipedes, and so on. That's science, working out what's there under our feet and categorising it. If you are going to take a chunk of your lawn out, I'd suggest you might ask Mum and Dad's permission first. Don't say, Miss McGregor said. Always ask first, just in case. Now, second video is Nick Baker talking about citizen science and why it's important. Hope you enjoy this wee video. I certainly did.
So I'm Nick Baker. I'm best known for my love of invertebrates, for creepy crawlies. But I also work a lot with birds. I'm a keen bird watcher, I'm a keen mammologist, I'm kind of into everything, I'm an all-rounder. One of my jobs is as a kind of teacher. I'm a fellow of natural history here at Winchester College. And when the BTO told me about the What's Under Your Feet project, I couldn't believe it. This is like my favourite subject meets my other favourite subject meets one of my jobs, which is teaching. So this is what we're doing here. Ah, look! Yeah, look at that. See, I like these things. So this is we call them maybugs or cockchafers, also known as a rookworm. So there we are. There's a great link between what we're doing and the thing itself. So if you've ever seen these things, this is this very distinctive C-shaped grub. Yeah, when you see these things, I mean, they're one fabulous sort of things. When you see rooks running across a field, turning it over, these are the things that make up a huge portion of their diet. Or so we assume, anyway. That's traditionally is what they were seen to be feeding on. And it'd be very interesting to know just how popular or how common these things are as well.
These small versions.
Oh yes, you got loads. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that is fantastic. See, who would have thought? Who would have thought that these were here in decent numbers? So that means, obviously, they take a couple of years underground, I believe, these things. So in a couple of years' time, these will be turning into the maybugs that we know and love as the ones that buzz around the street lamps. It's the life that we don't think about. I mean, you just think every time you see a green space, I mean, as a naturalist, you kind of hope that every time you see a green space, there's things underneath it. And when you actually bother to do this, you'll be surprised at the numbers that you'll turn up. I mean, the soil is absolutely crawling. Every single one of these creatures has a life cycle, and these life cycles are spinning around right under our very feet, hence the name of the project. And of course, they're not happening independent of other creatures that we maybe will find slightly more appealing. So of course, if you're a bird watcher, if you're into your birds, then this is exactly what the birds in your garden or on your local playing field or in the hedgerows are actually feeding on. So without these, you don't have the birds. And that is the whole point of this project. It's trying to link the abundance of the creatures in the soil with the health of other species. And of course, some of these things are the larval stages of winged things. So these the leather jackets. We're assuming these are leather jackets. We've got all sorts of things there. We've got nematodes. We've got leather jackets, which are the larval forms of crane flies. This bit you might not think is very, very exciting, but when they turn into winged insects, actually you probably won't find them exciting either. But they'll be up there in the summer. They'll be buzzing around the trees in the sky here, and that's what your swifts, your swallows, your house martins, and at night what your bats and your nightjars, etc., are going to be feeding on. So these are very, very relevant. And that's what I love about this project. It's making these things, the things that I love and spend a lot of my time poring over, it's making these things relevant to the bigger picture. It's about time.
So, what's underneath your feet? See if you can discover what is living. What's underneath the soil? Take a photo for me. Put something up on Seesaw, put something up on Gmail. Love to see what you're finding there. Categorise it. Is it invertebrates? Are they grubs? Are they worms? Are they spiders? Are they beetles? And so on. It'd be really interesting to find out. I've been doing that at Troon, and we've got very sandy soil, and it's very pebbly. So we get worms, and we get a few grubs. We don't get much else. Wonder what's underneath your feet. Tell me. I'd love to find out. Noticed it's somebody's birthday this week, so many congratulations, Ian. That was a lovely birthday cake. Who made it? Looked delicious. Hope you had a fantastic birthday. Wonderful. Now, on Mr. McGregor's YouTube channel, I'm sharing a couple of things with you. The Reverend Malcolm Kinnear, my namesake, he's made a couple of videos to share with the boys and girls at St Bride's. And Glencoe kids, you're more than welcome to have a look at them as well. So on my YouTube channel, you'll see links to the Reverend Kinnear's two videos that he's made for the pupils at St Bride's. So please have a wee look at that. And I'm sure he always likes to hear from you. So leave a message if you can. That'd be super. I've also uploaded last week's story from Jeannie the cat. And if you haven't seen Jeannie the cat, fantastic story. And that's from my friend Jean. And it's from a poem by T.S. Eliot. So have a wee look at that, because it's nice. This week, my goodness, I've been awfully busy. Trying to get the schools back open for you. We've still got lots of work to do. I'm almost there, and I'm going to share my plan with the parent chair tomorrow, hopefully, at Glencoe, and hopefully I'll share it with the parent chair at St Bride's as well. I've got a meeting with my boss to share all those plans, and hopefully I'll get a big green tick from my teachers to say, yes, we can get our schools back open and have lots of fun and lots of good times back in our classes. And I can't wait for it to happen. I hope you have a wonderful week. I know my primary 7s at Glencoe and Ramsey at St Bride, you've been having your transition week over at Kinlochleven. I think you're having to do quite a lot of work. Well, you are now closer to S1 than you are to primary 7. I think you're ready for it. I think you can cope with all that work, and I hope you're enjoying it. Primary 1s that are coming into the schools in August, I hope that you will get some idea of what school is like from Mrs Fraser and from Mrs Brennan when you come up to the schools. You'll have an absolutely wonderful time. Beautiful teachers, beautiful classes, beautiful schools. You will have a fab time. As always, love to hear your comments during assembly, so feel free to leave something on Seesaw or leave a comment on YouTube. Looking forward to reading them. You stay safe, stay good, keep well, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye bye.